All right, let me now introduce a very special guest, 2023 Gophers football commit, tight end from Maple Grove, Minnesota, Sam Peters. How are we doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So one thing I always find interesting with incoming recruits and big athletes, was there a moment in your high school career that you, I guess, knew that you were above the level of competition that you were playing with, and it was, I guess, going to be something that you could do at the next level?
Oh, yeah. I'd say like after my sophomore year, when I started taking football more seriously, I kind of realized that maybe there's a chance I could play college football. And that was when I used to play O line and I switched to tight end because I wasn't really big enough for O line. And I was a little bit faster than the other guys that were playing O line at that time. So I think that was probably when I realized that there's a pretty good chance that I can play college football.
Yeah. Did you play O line growing up? Was that where you were in like youth football, or did you play like all around?
I kind of switched around. I was quarterback for a little bit. I was O line. I was receiver. But I'd say it was mostly O line because I was a black striper for most of my youth career. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you on that. Did you play any other sports growing up, or was your main focus football always?
Yeah, honestly, football was one of the last sports that I played. I played baseball. I did soccer for a little bit. I did hockey for a long time, and then just recently I picked up track too.
What events do you do in track?
I did the 100, the 200, and then the 4x1 and the 4x2.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you obviously committed to the Gophers a few months ago. I guess take me and people listening through the process of you getting an offer. Like, what does that exactly like look like? Was like who called you? Were you expecting it? How did that kind of happen?
So my process was a little bit different than everyone else's. As everyone, I mean, everyone's different, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, so mine was a little bit longer, and I went to camp last summer with the old tight end coach, and honestly, nothing really came out of that very much. I was a little bit undersized back then, um, and then last fall, I went on a game day visit. That went well, obviously, and then as soon as Coach Harbaugh started, I had to kind of restart the whole process and just new coach and everything. Um, so that was a little weird. And then obviously they wanted me to come back to camp after the season last year because my film didn't really, or they said my film didn't show a whole lot and enough to evaluate me really. So um, I went to a junior day then, and they basically just said, come back to camp. We'd love to see you there or whatever. And then a few weeks later, Harbaugh and Coach Saraka came to my school and they watched me run routes and stuff. And I think that was really like the game changer. And that's kind of when they knew that I could be an offer. So then they told me to come to camp. And a few weeks later, then I came to camp, did pretty well. I think the main point of me going to camp was so Coach Fleck could see me in person. And after he saw me, they decided to offer me, and I decided to commit a few days later.
That's super interesting. You mentioned the tight end coach change having a big impact in your recruitment. How has kind of your relationship with Coach Harbaugh grown since he's taken over and throughout your recruitment?
I mean, obviously, our relationship is great, and it's grown a lot since we first met. Um, I mean, the first time we met was just through Twitter. Obviously, I just followed him once he became a coach, and we just started talking a little bit. And he invited, or actually, he didn't invite me, but we talked about me come to a visit soon. And it was just kind of slow, just gradual, and it just kept going up like this. And then obviously he came to school and wanted to offer me. So
Yeah. Um, so was it always your plan to commit to the Gophers? It took you, I guess, like a few days after your offer to verbally commit. Was that always something that you're like, if I get that offer, I'm gonna commit pretty soon, or what was your thought process behind that?
Um, I mean, it wasn't like I was gonna commit on the spot really anywhere, to be honest, because obviously I kind of want to go everywhere that offers me. So I want to wait a few days just so I know it's not like an impulsive decision. And that's kind of what I did with the Gophers. I did grow up a fan. I was a fan for pretty much my whole life, as far as I can remember. So obviously, the Gophers has always been a pretty important school to me. Um, but I think the main focus for me was to play in the Big Ten. That's where I really wanted to end up. And I think just the Gophers being the first Big Ten offer really helped with that.
Yeah, so you had a bunch of different offers from Tulane, Wyoming, bunch of different schools. You only visited the Gophers though, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
What I guess did Minnesota do differently than those schools that ultimately made you choose the Gophers?
Um, well, the reason I only had one official was because that was after I committed. So that was
Okay,
really
yeah,
the
that
main,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. And the Gophers, I mean, it really depends. I mean, it doesn't depend, but it's like just because they're a hometown school, like it's different than other schools. Tulane's down in what, Louisiana or something. Like
Yeah.
it's just really far away. It's a great school, obviously, but I just can't. I couldn't see myself going there really. It's just so far away, and
I think you're frozen a bit. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think you froze a bit.
yeah,
So you were saying that Tulane was super far away and
yeah.
it's way different than the Gophers. I
Mm,
guess could you just like expand on that a little more?
yeah. I think location was a pretty big factor for me. And I think that it's important that my friends and family can come watch me and they only have to drive, 30 minutes versus flying like 3.5 hours down to somewhere in the South or something like that. And I think it's just cool that I'm just that close and they can come to every game and I can come home whenever I want to, really.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So something that I always find interesting, like so when you verbally committed, do you like tell anyone that, or do you just kind of tweet it out? Because you're not signing any piece of paper at that point. It's
Right.
not National Signing Day. So I guess
Mm.
when you made that decision, what was your next thing after that?
Well, when I committed, I called all the coaches beforehand just to let them know, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was talking to my family. I let all my friends know, stuff like that. And I think I committed and then I waited a few days to announce it. Um, and that was on the official, I'm pretty sure. Uh, yeah. And then what were the next steps you said? Or
Yeah, I guess that makes sense that you just did it like after your official visit. But
yeah.
so what does for someone that might not know, what does like a official visit entail? Like what did you do at your visit with the Gophers?
Well, we did a lot of different stuff. We went to the Twin Stadium and ate lunch there. Then we went to Coach Fleck's lake house. We went on his boats to swim in the lakes a little bit. Um, One of the big things about officials is that you get like endless amounts of food and you're never hungry. It's crazy. Um, so after that, then we went to a restaurant at the Mall of America and we had 42-ounce steaks there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then we went to a place that was also a Mall of America, and we played laser tag, and like we had a Nerf war or something in there, which was actually pretty fun. And then we hung out with uh, a few of the players and stuff just around the city. Um, Let me think. Then the next day, we visited the art museum. We walked around campus a little bit. Um, we obviously did a photo shoot. We went to the stadium. We had dinner in the stadium, and there's like games and stuff set up. It was pretty cool. And then that was kind of it. But there's just a lot of stuff that you do. And I think they had another visit the week after, and they went to the Viking Stadium or something. I think they mixed it up a little bit. But it's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
So you mentioned going to PJ Fleck's house on your visit. What were
Mhm.
your first impressions as him as a coach? I guess he has a big personality.
Yeah, he does. Um, well, the best way I describe him is like the way you see him on video is exactly how he is in person. He's really no different. He has so much energy, and he's really positive, and that's something that I really like about him. And another thing is that he makes you feel wanted, and you can tell that he genuinely cares about you, and you're not just another number on the football team.
Yeah. So from your point of view as a recruit, I know you said you were a fan of the Gophers growing up, but how much do you think like the recent success that Fleck and the whole program's had in the past few years with draft picks competing for Big Ten titles, big bowl games, how much do you think that impacts, I guess, your recruitment, like how you see the program?
That's definitely a big part of it. Obviously, nobody wants to go somewhere where you're not ever going to win a game. um, so that was something that was pretty cool to see how the program has like slowly inclined since he's got there, and they have had a lot of NFL draft picks through Fleck, and something they've told me is that they're starting to switch up the offense a little bit, and they're using the tight ends more pass catching rather than just blocking like another O line, which is something that I was kind of looking for when I chose a college. Um, and you can obviously tell that because they're recruiting guys like me and Pierce for tight end. And we're not the biggest guys, but we are pretty fast. And
Yeah,
that's something that I think is pretty important. And
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for that.
That's definitely interesting. So you, along with a lot of other Minnesota guys, obviously committed this year for the 2023 class. How's your relationship with all those guys built throughout your visit, and like how well do you think you've gotten to know them over the past few months?
It's it was I mean the official visit was really helpful to get to know the guys a lot more. I know a few guys just from other visits and stuff like that. And obviously Jerome lives, 10 minutes away from me. So I knew him. Um, but me and Martin actually used to be on the same team back in youth football before he moved to Prior Lake. So I've always kind of known him. And then through him, I met Greg, and then I've met a few other guys just through recruiting, obviously. But I love our relationship, and everyone that's committed right now is pretty good friends, and that's something that's pretty special. I don't think a lot of other places have that where they have so many in-state kids that are, good friends. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, a few more questions I have before I let you go. How would you, I guess, describe yourself as a player to someone who's never seen you play before?
Well, I'm more of a pass catching tight end. I'm a little bit smaller, but I am pretty fast, I would say. Um, I can get down in the 3-point and block people, but most of the time I will be used as, basically a receiver that's being guarded by linebackers mostly.
Yeah. Are there any guys at the next level that you like to, I guess, watch, take stuff from their game?
Yeah. One of my favorite guys is Brock Bowers, if you know who that is.
Yeah,
He's
from
Georgia's
Georgia.
tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I can I mean, I think I'm pretty similar to him. Obviously not as good, but like the same kind of style. So that's, I mean, he's somebody I look up to a lot. George Kittle too. I think he's one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and I really like watching him too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I got for you today. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time and
Mhm.
doing this. And I guess I'm looking forward to seeing you in a Gophers uniform in a few years.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome.